You can go for the discount brokerages or you can go for the experts in the area. And I believe that the experts in the area are going to make you way more than the commission, the amount of commission that the discount brokerage is going to give you.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt. That is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, Thursday, December the 3rd. How you doing?
Doing great, Matt. I appreciate it. We're doing this year, it's the time of giving this year, and so we are doing a Toys for Tots drive. And so my mailer just went out today. We put some boxes in some condo buildings in Arlington. Just got word that one of them's already filled up, which is amazing. So this time of year, we want to give to the kids, give that excitement to the less fortunate, and so that's what we're doing.
Good. Very generous of you for setting that up and for giving. And, on that note, the Department of Justice is giving the National Association of Realtors a lawsuit, and that is going to be the topic of conversation. Giving, I'm using that in a flexible term, but the Department of Justice has sued the National Association of Realtors, NAR, and it looks like they sued and then came to a settlement basically at the same time, so this isn't like going to be a drawn-out lawsuit. They've concluded the items that they're focusing on and would like to change. So, Shawn, let's just jump into it right now. There's basically 4 different things that the Department of Justice was like, all right, look, guys, you really can't be doing this anymore. The first is that NAR and MLSs can't hide commission rates right now in the DC area, at least, and in most major areas. The commission rates for the buyer's agent is not something that the public can see. Now, Seattle's been doing this for about a year where you can see the buyer rates, but commission rates can't be seen right now. That's going to change. Buyer agents can no longer proclaim that their services are free. You won't be able to search on the MLS by sorting by commission rates. That's for agents. And then finally, a licensed agent can't be denied lockbox access just because they aren't a member of an MLS. And we'll get into each of these. Shawn, let's start with the first one. NAR and MLSs can't hide commission rates. So right now in our area, buyers can't see what the buyer agent makes.
Yep.
And in Seattle, for about a year, the NW-MLS has shown this to consumers. So what are your thoughts on showing the buyers the buyer agent commission?
Yeah, so first of all, to get into that, when you sign a listing agreement, when I'm a listing agent and I sign a listing agreement, I sign it for a certain percentage. In that complete percentage is what we pay out to a buyer's agent. So whatever percentage that is, that's in writing on the listing agreement at the time that we list that house or we get that signed agreement. So when we put that property on the MLS, we have to put that percentage up as a co-brokerage that pays the buyer's agent, their company, that fee when they bring the buyer. So now until now, that was not disclosed to the public. That percentage wasn't disclosed. So now when you're searching, I guess, on Zillow or wherever you're using, that percentage as a buyer's agent fee will be disclosed to you. And I don't see any problem with that, honestly. I think that disclosure is good. I've always been the type of agent that says, hey, listen, I'm representing you, a buyer. I get paid a percentage of that sale. I don't search based on what that percentage is. I just give you the homes that you want to see, and we go look at them. What I get paid is what I get paid.
Yeah, the sorting by commission rates is ridiculous that they put this in here. But the part that's ridiculous is that agents actually do that. I didn't really know that.
They do. You think about that. And the problem with that is, like, what they used to argue is like, all right, if you sign a buyer's agreement, in that buyer's agreement, you can say what you will get paid, right? So it could be 2.5%, it could be 2%, it could be 3%, whatever. So the idea is that if before was like, all right, so I signed this for 5 apples, right? But they're only paying out 3 apples. Who makes up the difference of 2 apples, right? the buyer would. So that's maybe why they were searching by that percentage. But then there's always the snakes, right? There's always the people that say, well, I'm not going to show that house. It's only giving me 3 apples. So I'm not going to do that. And that's where things have gotten bad, because they're basically steering somebody away from a house because they're not paying enough, right? And that's just bad. I mean,
yeah, I've never come across a situation where I haven't shown a house because of a commission. Now, of course, no one's going to ever admit that, but the fact that that's in here is a little strange to me. But they can't hide the commission rate. So let's think about this. I feel like more transparency is a good thing. They can't hide the commission rates. There's a lot of confusion with buyers on who pays what. That's all disclosed in the ALTA statement, the settlement statement at the very end. Now it's going to be disclosed at the very start. And I think this is going to be a nudge in the direction of lowering the buyer's agent commission. Because if you're a seller, what's the difference between paying a buyer's agent 5 apples versus paying the buyer's agent 4 apples? If the price is right, if the sales price is right, a buyer's going to buy that, whether they have a buyer's agent or not.
That's true.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's true. So when I show properties, I mean, I did one for a lot lower commission rate as a buyer's agent this year. It was just what was paid out, and that's the way it went. But I think here's the thing to really think about. Yes, it's fine to disclose. It might bring those commission rates down. But where it all changes is when you get into bad markets. When you start getting into markets where everything starts declining, when your values start declining or the sales aren't happening as quickly, what do then sellers start doing? They increase the buyer's agent's payout, because they think, all right, well, if I give more, then I'll get these agents more excited to come in to see my property. Where maybe in the future that doesn't work. I don't know, because we can't really, we can't search for that anyways. But when you put that in the description and say, hey, we'll pay you X amount, then you might call your client and say, hey, let's go check out this house, see if you like it, and maybe I can give you some of that extra money or something like that, right?
Yeah, it comes down to how is the buyer agent going to compensate the buyer agent? How is the buyer agent going to get paid? And, well, people say, okay, well, I'm the buyer agent, Mr. Buyer, my services are free. People, as in people that shouldn't be saying that. But in reality, who's paying the buyer agent? Is it the buyer or the seller? Well, let's see. The seller negotiates a listing fee and a buyer broker fee, but the buyer is the one that funds the deal. The buyer is the one that buys the property and gives that money to the seller, who then gives the money to the buyer brokers. So in all this downward pressure to lower commissions, if commissions get lowered by the buyer's agents, which by the way, I've said for numerous years now that I think the buyer's agent commission is going to get decreased, how can we ensure that buyers get proper representation? Because let's say you're working with a client that's using a VA loan, 0% down. Maybe they just came back from deployment, and now they have to pay a buyer's agent out of pocket. They've never bought a house before. Right now, the buyer's agent commission is essentially lumped into the sales price, which is essentially lumped into the mortgage. Would you necessarily agree with that?
Well, that's exactly it, but it's also lumped into the appraised value. So if you stop paying out a buyer's commission, or you lower that buyer's commission, that's also probably going to bring down your values a little bit, right? Because let's face it, those things are baked into it. I don't know that, it could have a negative effect on your values as well. So you're paying appraised value. Yes, that does include commissions. Yes, the buyer is actually funding those in some way, but they're getting the house of their dreams. Now, the thing that you want to think about is, all right, there's always going to be discount brokerages out there, always going to be discount brokerages. And those are the people that use discount brokerages are the people that will be asking for some sort of buyer agent compensation, right? Oh, you're getting 5 apples. I want one of those apples. But there's always going to be that person that goes after that. And then there's going to be the people that don't care. They just want their house. They want a good agent. And so I think where we differentiate ourselves is, all right, you can go for the discount brokerages, or you can go for the experts in the area. And I believe that the experts in the area are going to make you way more than the commission, the amount of commission that the discount brokerage is going to give you. For example, if I'm the expert in Arlington and I know what the market is doing, representing a buyer, either I'm going to get them in that property in a hot market because I know how to write a good contract, or I'm going to save them money because I'm going to tell them, listen, I think you need to come in at a price here under, because that's what the market's saying. Now, if you just get a guy or somebody out there that doesn't know the market, doesn't watch this thing every day like we do, you're not going to know these trends, and therefore you're going to end up losing more than you're trying to get from the agent.
Yeah. Real estate's such a funny industry where people just immediately start negotiating commissions. And, negotiating real estate commissions have been around since real estate started. It's nothing new, but think about the other services that you do. Like, I don't go and get my hair cut. It costs $20 and say, no, I'd rather pay $15 or I'd rather pay $10. Yeah. Just doesn't happen. But with real estate, it always happens. And you brought up discount brokers, who happen to be the big winners in all of this. They are the ones that are, I think, most pleased with the outcome. Now, I really don't care about the outcome because I think more transparency is good, but a lot of the discount brokers are saying that commissions have been high for so long. So they're essentially saying they do the same thing with less money involved, which is also backwards. And we've all seen what happened to Purple Bricks when they came into the United States market. They were in the UK market where there is no buyer's agent, and they're good over there, but they came here, completely different model. But there's a few other points in the lawsuit. The second item says that buyers can no longer say that their services are free, and buyer's agents shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. The money's got to come from somewhere, and the buyer's paying money, and you're seeing that line item there at the bottom. Another way of saying it is that the buyer's agent, there's no additional cost to use the buyer's agent. But what I'm wondering, Shawn, is when you're talking about, if a property is paying out less, 5 apples compared to 4 apples, you sign the buyer broker agreement. I've never been in a situation where the buyer comes up with the difference if there's a discounted commission. Now, let's say, someone's paying 10 apples and then I'm only getting 7. I'm not going to go to a buyer who's buying a house for 500,000 apples and say, by the way, you need to pony up 3 more apples to me. It's just not going to happen.
I've never had that happen, but I know there are brokerages out there that do that.
Am I going to eat my words in like 3 years?
You might be eating your words. I don't think so, though.
Eating my apples.
Listen, trends happen and cycles happen in real estate all the time, and things get shaken up all the time. I've been doing this 17 years. I've seen so many different shakeups. I think we're all going to be fine, right?
So my services are free. Buyer's agents can't say that.
That's the thing is, if you're actually going to a buyer appointment and you're teaching your buyer how this all works, then you don't have to explain that your things are free. You're getting paid through the seller. You're going to pay those commissions through the sales price. There are other fees that we can charge as a buyer's agent or a buyer brokerage. We can charge other fees on top of that commission. However, I never do. And the other thing that you were talking about in the buyer's agreement, have you ever seen a buyer agent or a buyer pay at settlement, the difference in commission? I can't say that I ever have, but the thing that sets us apart, I think, is that in my buyer broker agreement, when I have a buyer sign that, I don't list what my percentage is going to be. I say, whatever it is in the MLS, that's what I get paid.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I think we're in a world where sellers are going to pay, some are going to pay 5, some are going to pay 4, some are going to pay 3, and whatever it is, I'm going to be out there representing, my client to the best of my ability. Now, we're not in a market where sellers are paying $1, sellers are paying $2. I've seen that, and I believe there is a discount brokerage out there that does not pay a buyer broker fee. I don't want to name them because I'm not 100% sure on that. But
yeah, I know who you're talking about, and you're correct.
Okay.
And we've seen listings by them, and they've sat for a long time. And I saw them in a hot market, just sitting. And it was all because, we're not going to pay a buyer's agent fee. Well, if you would have gotten a lot more.
Was that the reason that they were sitting?
I don't know that for sure, but I don't know. You know what? That goes to show you that if you put it up for 0, then we have to say something in our listing or our buyer's agreements, because if you're not paying out anything, I have to be paid for my services. I'm not going to do this for free. So in the future, we might have to say, all right, well, you're going to pay X amount, and if you want that house, you have to know that you're going to pay me $10,000 or whatever it is, right? So that's the difference. So if we start seeing zero payout, which I've seen $1 payout before, then there's going to have to be some other agreement made.
Yeah. So, from all of this, it appears like the buyer's agent commission is going to continue to decrease. And what's the fallout from that? Because I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think this is like a monumental change. I don't think this is some industry changing thing, but it is a nudge in a certain direction. And that direction is more competitive services that buyers agents need to offer. So I think a few things are going to happen. One, I think people will explore discount brokerages, and you may use a discount brokerage once. I'm not sure if you're going to use them twice. That's for another video. But that's the first thing. The second thing is I think that more agents are going to simply leave the business. If there's more competition at a lower price, the newer agents, the agents that aren't quite cutting it, they're just not going to be around for longer. They're not going to be able to tread water for longer. And I think third, there's going to be a further difference from the top agents to the middle of the pack. The top agents, have not too much to worry about, whether it's 2 apples or 1 apples. They're going to get theirs. But once we start talking about decreased commissions, I think the biggest change that we're going to see is the increase in competition in buyer's agents.
The increase in buyer agents. Yeah, I mean, and the big fallout, right? So I've seen a big fallout of agents. There are a ton of agents out there. There's a lot. The majority of agents do very little in the whole grand scheme of things. So yes, you will start seeing those agents start to fall out because they can't make any money. It's truthfully.
Do you think we're going to see more agents more buyers work directly with the listing agent?
That could be, and I think that's the real problem here. Then they're not getting true representation.
But what if they don't want representation? What if they just want minus 2.5 apples off the
They could do that too. They could negotiate, but let's think about that. There are certain people in this world that will do that, and there's the majority that won't. Right? There's certain people that have been through the ringer. They've bought multiple homes. They're always going to be able to negotiate their own homes and go directly to the listing agent and say, hey, I don't want representation. I'm going to negotiate this myself. I'm going to take that buyer commission that you're going to pay out, and I'm going to reduce the price by that amount and some more. You could do that anytime, but a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And truthfully, I've had somebody do that in the past. They said, hey, I'm just going to buy this house by myself. They'd bought many houses before, but when I looked at the house, I'm like, man, I could have got you a better deal. Honestly, I could have. So that's the difference. It's expertise. I have the expertise. I've been doing this a long time. You've been doing this a long time. We know these markets. We know the trends. We're watching them constantly. The buyers, yeah, they're obsessing about certain places that they want to buy, but they're not going to know the ins and outs of how to work these things as well as we are.
Have you read the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi?
I have not.
He has a saying that says, don't ask the $3 questions, ask the $30,000 questions. Now, what that means is, like, you see all these articles on BuzzFeed and Yahoo where if you quit your latte, one time per week, and then you save that $3 compound interest, you'll be a millionaire in like 75 years. But what if instead of that, you go into your job and you negotiate a 5% raise like every 12 months? So I think what we're seeing in the real estate industry is, buyers and sellers, they're trying to do it themselves. They're trying to negotiate 1 apple off. They're trying to negotiate 2 apples off. But in your example, you could have got them a much higher price, or the buyer a much better deal. So, you don't know what you don't know.
That's exactly it. And think about it this way. I just thought of something. When you're investing, right? I have a Scott Trader or whatever, TD Ameritrade account. And I'm always like, oh, I'm going to invest in this. But meanwhile, I have a brokerage account with a company, and man, they know what they're doing, right? They make me money way more than I could have if I would have been doing it myself. Yeah, I can try to save the fee that they're making off me, but truthfully, I wouldn't be making anywhere near what I would be making if I was not using Morgan Stanley, right? So
You trying
that's
to
the
tell me
difference.
those stocks? You trying to tell me those stocks to invest in?
Yeah, man, I'm trying to make
let
you
me know
money, man.
Let me know those stocks after the show.
No, but the thing is, they have me invested in so many things that I don't even know what they are, and they're making me money, right? Whereas if I would have just gone with these ones, and I've done pretty well this year on my own, I just said, hey, I have some money in this account, I'm just going to do it. I've done pretty well, but that's because the market's going, right? The market was going up. But when the market goes down, they're still making me money. It's crazy, right? So they know what they're doing. There's an expertise there. That's why you're going to use a real estate agent that knows what they're doing, and you're always going to have your discount people. That's it.
The other 2 points, which we'll kind of glaze through because they're pretty simple. You can't search on the MLS if you're an agent by commissions. I don't know who would do this in the first place. I search for what my buyer is going to buy. I don't search for what I am going to make. I think if you search for what you're going to make, you're doing it backwards. And then number 4, a licensed agent can't be denied lockbox access simply because they aren't an MLS member. This basically means there's real estate agents and then there is realtors. Some realtors still pronounce it realtor.
It drives me crazy.
I'm a realtor.
Realtors pronouncing it
Realtor.
realtor. It drives me
Realtor.
insane. Yeah, they're still doing it. It's crazy.
So essentially, you don't have to be a realtor. You don't have to be a realtor, a licensed realtor. You can be a licensed real estate agent, but you don't have to be a part of the National Association of Realtors in order to show the property. This isn't saying that the public can access the property. But I am intrigued because, on Zillow-owned homes, people are allowed to tour the property without an agent, I believe. Like in Arizona, have you seen that?
I have seen that. Yep.
So I don't think this is going to lead to eventually the public can just walk into any open house. But apparently this is for increased competition, so you don't have to be a part of the good old boys club, NAR, in order to show a house.
Yeah, I think this is just for all those people that are licensed, but they're not paying the couple $1,000s a year to be, with the MLS, with all these other things, that they can still get access to properties because they're licensed agents. I think that's fair, right? I think anybody should be able to, that is a licensed agent, should be able to get into a property. Just because you're not part of the association, doesn't mean that you should be allowed. But, realtors, we are held to a different standard. We're held to a code of ethics. And I think that's where, this could get a mix up. But you could see a lot of people fall out of that membership if they don't have to be in it to be able to show the properties.
I always find that entertaining how the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor is like a code of ethics. Mm-hmm. So do real estate agents not have a code of ethics? To me, they're the same thing. I guess, you still have to be a good and decent person, but you don't necessarily have to follow a code of ethics, which reminds me of the other lawsuit about the hate speech for realtors. Join us next week on the Shawn and Matt Show when we talk about another lawsuit. How many more videos do you think we're going to do on NAR lawsuits?
Oh, there's going to be a lot. I guarantee it. It's going to be one after
They're
another.
They're just coming left and right.
They are. And, the whole hate speech thing, it's narrowing. We'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, I have some opinions on that as well. Maybe we should do a video on that one. But that
whatever.
We'll see. Maybe that'll get clicks. Maybe not. Cool. Well, that just about wraps it up for another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. Obviously, we would love your feedback, thoughts, comments, opinion. Be sure to drop them in the comment section below. And for Shawn and myself, until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.